live. What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And of course, the news speaks for itself. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. The ties that bind. Why do they bind? Because these guys are connected. These guys are at the top of the heavyweight division as of now. Win, lose, draw, undefeated, doesn't really matter. It's still the same way. I think these guys will eventually have to fight each other, but I think in boxing, people do jump the gun. Sizzler 10 afternoon, counterpunch to you. So I know you are somewhere else besides the US of A because it is still morning here at 9:44 Central Time. Absolutely. I figured you're from the UK. Counterpunch to you, Sizzler. Shout out to the UK in this piece. Leonard Ham, love your channel, big dog. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. We'll let the chat come in while we drop this knowledge and this info and talk about the ties that bind. Joshua, Fury, Wilder. We see the heavyweight division really no different than we saw it 2 years ago, 3 years ago, right? I mean, because the same things have happened, and I know COVID, Corona season, and all that stuff, that happened, and that put a great interference on the sport of boxing, as it did the rest of the world. So, we can't just, it just wasn't just boxing, but a lot of things that should have happened didn't happen. This Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder match, the trilogy match should have happened. And I was looking forward to it because I was anticipating the trash talk from each end. I was anticipating the counter punches or whatnot, Tibebu, Johannes, what's up, Kurt? Good to see you. Counterpunch to you. Counterpunch to you, brother. Sami Ali is in the house. Counterpunch, bro. But no, I think this fight, if it happens, it happens. But I think if it does, let's get on with it. In red, like that sinister laugh, Kurt, similar to John Fury. In red, counterpunch to you. It's boxing is very, very interesting. James Springfield Jr., counterpunch to you. Big fan of your channel. Appreciate you, James. Roy Taylor, what's up, brother? Man, I'm good. Johnny Sani, Scotland, Glasgow here. Mr. Glasgow, counterpunch to you. D-Town Blaster, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you, man. Thank you for the love. Dickie's Classic, hello to you, Dickie's Classic. The Phantom Salad Dodger, what's up, big dog? Oh man, everything's up. Everything's up. We're just letting people get on. When you guys come in, hit that like button. That's going to notify other people that I am live. So you help other people come to the platform while I'm live instead of after. Because you don't know how many times I was like, man, I'm hurt. I hate I missed you. You only live once. You only live once at a time, and you only live every day. Mikhail King, morning, Kirk. Is it true Fury trying to pull out of the AJ fight? McCall, I honestly think at this point, we don't know what Tyson Fury is trying to do. The question is, what can Tyson Fury do? What is he allowed to do versus what he's trying to do? Now, Tyson Fury, he's trying to get out of the arbitration. He's trying to come out of that so he can make the big bucks, I think. But I think what he's doing, he's putting pressure to Eddie Hearn to make the fight and get the fight made, pushing it to happen, where his side of the street, his promoter, his networks, they're sitting back watching one side do all the work. That's what I see. I mean, Eddie Hearn, yeah, they're the A side, I get it and all this, but then it's like, well, what are you guys doing to contribute besides running your mouths? And they should be interested to see what's going on in the arbitration, because I think that matters the most. Because if the arbitration goes in favor of Wilder, either they have to pay the man or fight the man. That's what I'm thinking, and then we can't even talk. So it doesn't really, it doesn't look good when you can't talk about something that's going on. So you can't make a decision. He can't talk in confidence like we know Tyson Fury can do. Did Tyson Fury do this? Okay, you big dulcers, let me tell you something once and for all. I can't fight Deontay Wilder because he's a big dulcer. He holds no weight. The negotiations for the arbitration is bullshit. Don't worry, I'm going to fight AJ and take all the belts at the same time. He didn't say none of that. There's nothing like that. No energy like that at all. So that's what's making me concerned. He's saying, I can't really talk about it, to be honest, to be frank. That's what we're hearing. As much as I'm excited about Undisputed, I have really become bored and tired of Tyson Fury, AJ, and Deontay Wilder. I'd be just as satisfied if those three retired and the rest of the belts are up for grabs. Joshua's too young to retire. Fury is not too young to retire, but then he took too much time off because he could have had at least 6 more fights if he wouldn't have took that layoff. But the question you ask yourself, if he didn't take that big layoff, would he still be undefeated? That's the question you ask yourself. Because there's a lot of people that kept retiring and coming back and retiring and coming back, and they came back at the right time. K Beats, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Merle Dixon in the house. Good morning, family. Morning to you, Merle. King Midas, salute coach from Lockerbie, Scotland. King Midas, counterpunch to you. Some good fights out there like Hrgovic and Hunter. Yeah, Hrgovic and Hunter will be a good fight. It will be a very good fight. The recent video of Wilder on pads looked good, but under pressure, he'll revert back to one bomb. Well, I mean, he threw combinations. I've seen the combinations that he threw, but it wasn't enough of them to convince me that he was primarily working on combinations. If anything, I would say he was working on the right hand or setting up the right hand with other punches, which is great. Donald Chilla, counterpunch to you. Fury is being what he calls everybody else's is being a dulcer. He signed, so bearing injury, it should be cool. Okay. Mikhail King on a 1-fight deal. I don't that's what I heard. That's the last thing that Eddie Hearn said, the 1-fight deal. Maybe it's understood as this. Maybe it's not a 1-fight deal. Maybe that was the 1-fight deal in that location. Maybe it's that. But I think he was specifically talking about get 1 fight out and then we'll worry about the other fight. That's what I believe. When are you going to make your fight prediction for AJ versus Fury fight? As soon, Efe, Solak. As soon as the fight gets made, I'm convinced Wilder will force the Fury trilogy. I bought into the hype, but not now. James Adams, if you were a Wilder, what would you do? That's the question. No bias here on this channel. If you were Deontay Wilder and you had the power to do certain things because it benefited you, what would you do? You think Wilder gives a damn about Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury? He does not. He doesn't care about that fight. He cares about him getting his contractual obligation. So if he wins, that's what he'll get, or he will get paid. So, Nikki Blue Eyes Austin, hey, good afternoon, Kurt. Just finished work. Even better, got you on live. I'm going to have a good journey home. Thanks. Nikki Blue Eyes, how far are you from home? Fury's lack of real competition since Klitschko will cost him dear against AJ. Well, King, we'll see if the fight happens. It might not be a fight right now. He might have to fight Wilder. I mean, that's what Bob Arum said. So it's not like we can only report the news, and how we think of the news is how the news happens. So it is what it is. One moment, guys. Okay, guys, I am back. Had to move my vehicle for a second. Let's see. Where are we at? Wilder should fight White for the mandatory position. Yeah, I know that would be ideal. That would be ideal to fight White. But at the end of the day, if you had the opportunity to fight Fury, why would you ever fight White? I mean, I would love to see it, but oh, you're an hour and 18 minutes from home. Damn, do you make that commute every day when you go to work? That's a nice little commute. I would love to see WBS with Yoka, Joyce, Ajava, Hergovic, Wilder, Usyk, Ruiz, and White. That would be cool. That would be some cool shit. And you look at these names. You have like 8 names. You know how many different fights that you can make from that? Alan Hinton, sweet. Good to catch you on live, bro. Have you seen the new clip of Wilder training? Alan, I have. You should check it out. I counterpunched it. And it looks very impressive. Very, very impressive. Kurt, if you think Wilder, who is one of the most emotional guys we've seen, doesn't care about Joshua Fury, you may be talking about the wrong Wilder. No, in God we trust. I don't mean like that. I don't mean that he doesn't care about. You misunderstood me. Wilder cares about. He doesn't care about the fight happening. Okay, he cares about his own fight happening. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he would be pissed off if that fight did come down. If that fight was somehow made and that arbitration is still going on. Oh, he would. But what I'm saying is, do you think he cares about that fight coming together? No, he does not. That's what I meant by that. Quan, Big Guns. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Hergovic, Wilder would be a great fight. Well, egg weight form. Egg weight form. Those guys, when Wilder was 26 and Hergovic was 19, they sparred. And they had some pretty raunchy sparring sessions. And I think Wilder, he didn't respect Hergovic's power. So I think that fight would be very interesting. But, we'll see where both guys, what they've learned, Wilder fanboys saw Wilder training and immediately believed he is training for Fury. They've seen a pic of AJ training and heard that AJ Fury controls is in the 4th draft, but believe AJ Fury won't happen. Well, that's what they want. I mean, see, understand. You look at it like this: you have guys that have vested interest based on who they favor. Whoever you favor in forms of whoever you really like, who you're a true fan of, or or you're fanatical about. That's pretty much going to be your biased. That's it. So if you just are, if you're in love with a fighter, you're biased. That's it. Now, if you like boxing, you can see outside of that fighter, other fighters or other possible situations. Let's hit that like button. Let's hit the like button, guys. Eddie Jarvis Jr., what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you, the best boxing channel on YouTube. Thank you, Eddie. Appreciate that compliment, man. Wilder's in demand, but he should forget a warm up. Well, I mean, he's demanding something. You know, he's demanding, but being in demand and being in control are two different things. So we don't know how much of control he's in. We just know a secret gag order hearing is going on right now. And my question is, what is taking so long for this to go down? That's my question. Like, why is it taking like so long for this fight to actually or from this court battle or whatever, hearing or arbitration? Why is it taking so long? I mean, what do they have to show and have all this as evidence as what, you know? And then if you think about it, if I'm a guy that believed every theory that was brought up about or towards Tyson Fury, I would be the guy that would be spitting the idea of the arbitration going into Wilder suing him for all that other stuff. If you think about it, right? Because they can't talk about it. So if you can't talk about it, I can speculate about it because they can't talk about it. But I bet you they're talking about the egg weight form, the spiked water, the gloves. You know, they're talking about all that. You know? Yes, it would be longer if I didn't drive public transport. Oh, is a myth right now, but only a certain amount of people are allowed on the bus because of the COVID. It's rush hour. Oh, okay, got you. Yikes. Scans rants. I guess Bob Arum is a Wilder fanboy. No, he's not a Wilder fanboy at all. You know, he just opened up the idea all of a sudden to fight Wilder. Now, why you think he would do that, Scans Rants? Why would you think he would do that? You know, unless he knows something we don't know. But what does he know? We don't know. We have no idea. If Wilder doesn't fight Fury, watch him mention fighting Fury, Joshua, White, Bruce Lee, Ali, Thor, and Thanos, but actually fight Ronald McDonald. Shabazz, that would be unfortunate. I would be disappointed in Wilder if that happened because I think Wilder is a person that he has a lot to prove. You know, a lot of people question his mental state. A lot of people question, you know, his dominance. You know, can he be that guy he once was? Was he ever that guy? I mean, will he ever fight these top guys? You fight Fury, you lost to Fury. You draw to Fury, then you lost to Fury. You knocked out Dominic Breazeale, but Dominic Breazeale has proven himself not to really even be a force in the heavyweight division, which make the loss. It was exciting when he done it because he was the second to do it behind Joshua. But after that, those guys that keep losing are guys that that makes your resume weaker. Doesn't make it stronger. Now you can argue that, hey, well, no, Wilder did it when he only had one loss. He can do that. But if you're looking at a guy that keeps getting beat, I mean, how much weight or legitimacy does that win actually hold? Okay, because I think the more you lose, the more steam you lose. You know, and if doesn't it gets to a point where if five people have beat you back to back, the first is really not as significant. You could say I'm the first or I was the second or whatever, but you know that win doesn't mean as much because all these guys have beat that one guy. So what does he really mean? What does is he any good? You know, that's just like being with a woman that everybody dated, right? Or everybody slept with. Well, I mean, it really ain't gonna matter at the end of the day if it like all five guys. Well, hey, you've all been with her. That's not significant. It's like that. It's like losing the same way in the sport of boxing. And I say boxing, not UFC. UFC, you can lose as many times as you want to. If you're still exciting, people will still watch you. Boxing, you lose once, twice, three times. Oh, you're done. Only certain people can do that, like Derek Chisora is an exception. But other than that, no. Absolutely not. My son Leo is waving at you. You tell Leo I said. Appreciate Leo for waving, giving me that shout out. Locomotive. Fury wanted a tune-up. Take the third fight, get rid of Windmill, then have an undisputed fight versus AJ. Loco, it's like this. That's what I would say. I would say get the fight that you signed. You know, you've made up with Wilder, supposedly. You're not as mad at him like you were. Fight the fucking guy, then have the undisputed fight. But this is what I don't want. Don't hold up the rest of the heavyweight division because you got some shit that you should have handled. That's my problem with Fury right now, because Fury should have just fought the guy. He should have fought the guy. He should have took care of that obligation, then got that out of the way. And then we would have handled all that Glovegate shit and all that. We would have handled that all last year. You know what I mean? And then who would have won that last fight would have determined a lot. If Fury went in there and mopped him like he did in February, we wouldn't have heard anything. And then Wilder would get one of his last paychecks, because he'll probably fight once more after that, maybe not even again. But he'll get that one last payday and then sell off in the sunset with another ass whooping, if Fury can do that. If Fury can do that, mind you. Okay, so that's what should have happened. But Fury got emotional. Tyson Fury got emotional. Oh, you talking about my people? I ain't gonna never fight you. Now it's up for grabs. Oh, now I think I will. But that's Fury. That's Tyson Fury. He'll change with the wind. Fury, I'll never do you. I'll never fight you. Now it's sticks and stones. Never means never. Never means never, Tyson. Shit. The Wilder fanboys still think Wilder can beat Fury, but Fury has his number. Wilder is one trick pony, and the right hand is all he has. Alan Clark, look. If Fury believes that, this is my counterpunch to that, Alan. If Fury believes that he can just beat the shit out of Wilder, he should have done it. And he should do it. But what he should do, he should come out and say, hey, I'm fighting Wilder next. Wilder would come up for it. Shelly Finkel already said, we'll fight him in the backyard, right? Right? So what's the problem? They need a tune-up. His dad, Frank Warren, all of them were pissing and moaning about a tune-up, right? Andy Lee, his cousin, all of them are bitching and moaning and pissing and moaning about a tune-up. Okay, there's Wilder. He's been out of the ring the same amount of time as Tyson Fury. So let's have that fight. Counterpunch. Let's get it out of the way, but don't waste a unified champion's time. That's all he's doing. He's wasting that time having Eddie flying all around, talking to sheiks and Saudis and shit, trying to get money together, which, not saying they don't have, but it's like, yo, okay, let us get the money together or whatever. It's like they're trying to hurry up and push and rush a fight like that when Tyson Fury knows he already has secret obligations to fight someone else. That shit ain't right. That ain't right to Tyson. That ain't right to fight right to Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, Alexander Usyk, Joe Joyce, because everybody just sitting around at this point. Everybody just sitting around like, okay, what are those two dudes going to do to determine what we're going to do? Let's hit that like button. Ruiz Areola. Ruiz will beat Areola and he'll knock him out in round 9. Because I think what's going to happen, he'll hit Areola with something he doesn't like, and then what they're going to do, okay, what they're going to do, they're going to carry Areola to about 9 or 10 rounds, but they're going to get a stoppage. That's what's going to happen. Andrew James, I can see that. I don't even have to wait to build a prediction about that fight. You know, Andy Ruiz will stop him. He will stop him to the body or catch him with one of them looping left hooks that he's known for, and he will stop him. But he'll do that after carrying because Andy Ruiz needs the rounds. He needs instruction. So they're not going to rush that fight along. They're not going to just try to get Chris Areola out of there. He's durable enough to go those amount of rounds because he does have some fight left in him. He's 40 years old, but he still wants to show people that he's tough. He knows Andy's going to beat him. He knows that. Now, will he let Andy just beat him? No, per se, I don't think so. But that's still going to happen. You know, they sparred before. And Chris Areola said, man, this fat kid really showed me who he was, being a little fat ass kid. You know, like years ago. Because again, you know, Chris Areola's 10 years on Andy. Andy's 30, 31, 9 years, 9, 10 years. He got a decade on Andy. So that long ago, Andy was like 20, 21, right? Or probably earlier than that, you know? I mean, Chris Areola was probably about 27, 28 when he sparred this young kid, this young fat kid from South California. You know, so yeah, he knows what Andy can do. You know, so Andy, what do you think? Andy's going to get knocked out by Chris Areola? You know, if Andy Ruiz was going to get knocked out, he got knocked out by that left hook by Joshua. And that didn't happen. I mean, he got caught flush with that perfect left hook. That's the type of left hook that puts you out. You know what I mean? Because the leverage on that sucker, because that uppercut didn't really land. It kind of nipped him because he ain't got a neck like that. You know, Andy's growing a neck now, right? His neck is kind of getting kind of. You weren't happy when Wilder pushed the narrative of fighting Andy Ruiz instead of fighting AJ back, but now happy pushing the AJ Fury. I see bias. You weren't happy when Wilder pushed the narrative of him fighting Andy Ruiz instead of fighting AJ, but now happy pushing the AJ Fury. I see. No, that's not. You really think that shit? Do you really think that? When Wilder wanted to fight Andy Ruiz, this is what I said. May luck, right? I said this. Andy Ruiz can't fight him because he has a rematch clause, and he shouldn't fight him. And I thought it was mighty strange that Wilder all of a sudden wanted to fight for fucking undisputed when he said, "Oh, it's about my belt, the most prestigious belt. I don't even care about the other belts no more." Did you see that? It don't even matter about the other belts. I have the best belt. So you forget that, huh? No, mate, you forget that, right? So how you see biased? And aren't I for Wilder getting his fucking rematch? Aren't I for that? Why are you talking about bias? Aren't I for Wilder getting his trilogy fight? How many times have you guys heard me say, I feel Wilder should get his trilogy match? How many times? How many people have said that? Just to shut May up. For the yes or no, how many times have I said that Wilder needs to get his match? For the people that see me, for the people that heard me, can I get a yes or a no? How many people heard that? How many people heard that? Yes or no? I'm just saying, like, oh, well, you weren't cool with Wilder fighting Andy Ruiz. No, I said I thought it was strange that now all of a sudden Wilder wanted to fight for undisputed. I said it 1,000 times. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, Edward. Thank you, God of War. You know what I mean? Nikki Blue Eyes, more than you can remember. Absolutely. Always. I didn't change stories. It's simple. You sign a contract. Say, oh, I have a rematch. You beat that guy. Now that guy wants a rematch. You give him the rematch. So I don't know how many times, like, people come on here and say something stupid like that. Then it sets me off. I'm like, well, that shit ain't right because that ain't what I said. You know. I mean, so I don't know what the deal is. I just thought it was strange because Wilder all of a sudden wanted the undisputed when he really didn't want it before Joshua got his ass whooped by Andy Ruiz. And then he turned down $100 million. Oh, fuck. We forgot about that shit. You know what I mean? And called it loyalty. You know, it's just crazy. No, man. No. Anyway, moving on. I had to shut that up. I had to, really get a good counterpunch on this cat. Now over the jab counterpunch to the left ear. Alan Clark, yeah, but when it comes to it, we will though. Okay, whatever that meant, dude. I think when Andy got up from that is really when Gay Jay lost the fight. Like, oh ish. Well, I think that's when Anthony Joshua thought that he was going to get him out of there. Which, if you really think about it, when Joshua hit him with that left hook, I think he should have really thought, like, damn, I hit this man with a left hook and he got up like that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I should kind of chill. Toby Barley, salute. Kurt in the chat, counterpunch to you. Best life, counterpunch to you. With that message retracted, this is getting boring daily. Okay, go somewhere else. Eddie Jarvis Jr. Hey Kurt, counterpunch him with the loaded Fury gloves. I know, right? With the fucking egg weight form glove. I hit him with that Tyson Fury egg weight form. Aye, you big Dalsa. Aye, I'll show you about feather punches. Ah! It's all flipping strange or props. Eddie is giving Fury's team some of his own medicine. How so? Wilder turned down 50 as he should have. AJ did too. The bag was full. Spider Murphy. Okay, the bag was full. $50 million. Well, let me tell you the problem with the $50 million, which I didn't really get a chance to do on someone else's platform, but let me break it down to you. $50 million, it was sent, first of all, Wilder sent an email to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn didn't tell him no. Eddie Hearn never told him, no, I don't want to fight you. No, we won't accept that. So people getting a false perception of that. Anthony Joshua said, you give me $50 million, we'll fight tomorrow. Okay. Well, in that case, if they were really serious about that, they would have sent a $50 million contract over. Not, hey, we got an email, right? We have an email for $50 million, right? Email is for $50 million. And what did Eddie Hearn say? Show me the contract. And what did they say? No, you have to agree to the deal first. Who the fuck agrees on a deal without a contract? Now, see, so the thing is, I don't care for someone telling me what someone said and did. I just know what was said on paper, not, hey, well, Deontay Wilder called Anthony Joshua. Now, I'm aware that Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua have had conversations. I don't know what those conversations are about. Now, you can tell someone what you said to someone else, but until you verify it with that other person, we don't know how true that is. We just know Deontay Wilder sent an email to Eddie Hearn, and then look and said, if you're a man about your word, let's go. No, none of those guys, Anthony Joshua and Eddie Hearn, said no. Don't tell me to go somewhere else. It hurt. Okay, well, stay. Ruiz and Joyce have granite chins. Parker also has a decent chin. That Parker-Ruiz fight should have been a draw. Yeah, it was close. It was real close. It was a real close fight. Actually, they should have ran that back, honestly. They should have ran that back. And they should have done it somewhere else besides New Zealand, because that's where they were at. So, yeah, to be fair. But, yeah, you don't put like a 24-hour limit on it. Who does that shit? On an email with no contract. I don't get that. If they were serious about it, they would have drawn it out. That was one fuck up, right? Why would you not just tell Shelly Finkel to send over a contract, describing what the $50 million holds? What does it consist of? You don't do that. Like, that's something you don't do. That's not even professional. Shelly Finkel knows that. Deontay Wilder knew that. I mean, I think what that was, you sent an email over for a big fucking bluff. Okay, you send it over as a big bluff, and when they start talking about actual business steps to getting that legitimate, then you claim, oh, he turned it down. That's what you do. You know, that was that. Let's compare the 100 million to the 50 million for a second, right? Um, repent. Does Eddie Hearn work for Tyson Fury or John? He doesn't work for any of them, so I don't get that. I don't know. Like they should go with, but anyway, yeah, you're right. They should go with their own promoters, Frank Warren and Bob Arum. They should talk to them. But you compare, first of all, the professionalism, the actual protocol. How was the $100 million or the $120 million presented to Deontay Wilder? How was that presented? El Kasi 1971. What's up, brother? Counter punch to you. How was that presented? It was presented in, hey, a sit down. This is what you're going to get. This is how these fights are going to be broke up. Hey, we know you got a mandatory. We're going to give you $20 million for that too. That, it was a sit down. Him and all his representatives. It wasn't a fucking email that said, hey, you're a man about your word. Accept this offer without a contract and without any stipulations. And you know what? You should be, if you're a businessman, you should know better than to accept something like that, not knowing what the hell that consists of. Okay? Well, now, it makes sense now because more bullshit. Why didn't Steven Espinosa from Showtime know about Frank Warren being the partner in the UK? He said there was no partner in the UK. Frank Warren said, I am the partner in the UK. So that's another fuck up. So you guys can't even get your fucking story straight. Okay? Okay, Joshua received stipulations. By how? Scance rants. How? How did he receive stipulations? Jim KO Boxing. What's up, Kurt? Rico Sadat. Jim _ KO Boxing. Hope you're all well. Appreciate you, Zim. Kurt, is Wilder versus Fury the next fight? I have no idea. American Patriot 1776. Let's get that likes. Let's get those likes up. The zone is done. They blew $1 billion and can't get out the UK. Over. They blew $1 billion and can't get out the UK. They're all over the fucking world though. But they're done. Okay. If AJ doesn't get the Fury fight next, AJ should leave Eddie Hearn immediately. Eddie Hearn would have failed AJ tremendously. Slotello presents. I don't know if he would have done that. I think what Eddie Hearn should have done though, I think he should have stuck to his guns. I think that he should have waited until Tyson Fury and not believed all the bullshit, because what they did, they underplayed the legitimacy of Wilder and his claim. That's all they did. So they lied to Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn ain't to blame. It's Frank Warren and Bob Arum. Who was saying that it expired? Who was saying that? Can somebody tell me how it was expired? Swift 718. Appreciate the content, brother. Fury, Warren, and Arum really seem like con artists to me right now. Appreciate you. And we're going to prove. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the super chat. But let's prove it right there. Who in the fuck said the contract was expired first? Who said that? Can somebody tell me who said that? Okay, who said no? Who said Arum? Okay, who else? Who said that? Who said the contract was expired? Who was the first person who said that? Star Wars Fan TV. It was Bob Arum. Bob Arum said that the contract expired. Therefore, there's no need to uphold it. We're moving on. Okay? Then it was Frank Warren. So you got both guys co-signing with it. So if they're co-signing with it and they promote Tyson Fury, why not Tyson Fury? They're all saying the same shit. Okay? I heard Bob first. Now, of course, Jay Fletcher, the UK is 6 hours ahead of us. So they're like in the future to our ass, right? You guys that are you guys know. You know what I mean? It's only 10:30 here. It ain't 10:30 in the morning here. But it's fucking damn near 4 o'clock there, right? It's afternoon. Going into the evening time, right? It's the evening time for you guys. Bob is a lawyer. No doubt he looked over that contract many times and knew it expired. Well, why do we have a gag order? If that's true, why do we have a gag order? Because there's too many things that we don't know about this shit. Eddie Hearn wouldn't have failed AJ. I believe Fury is making shit difficult, probably demanding shit he didn't deserve. Something ain't right with all this, and it's not coming from Team AJ. No, it's not. But see, here's the problem. They're expecting Team Joshua to make this fight where at the same time they're hearing other shit that contradicts them making this fight. Make that make sense. Do you guys understand what I just said? You know what I mean? Jay Fletcher, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. No doubt. Love counterpuncher. Let's see. Big up. AX Ace 99X. A lot of blame going on with Warren and Bob are sitting back doing nothing. Eddie is the only one trying. Well, look, I think this is what's happening. Bob Arum and Frank Warren are sitting back doing this. Now, what's fucked up about them doing this is because they already know, okay, we got two options. We either wait for Eddie to get the shit together, which we should be helping him do, but we're not going to do that because, see, we already know that Fury over here has a problem with his last fucking opponent. Okay? Now, they might not want to admit that, but at the end of the day, right, they know that they can't talk about what's going on in this arbitration. And if it was so cut and dry, we would be talking about it. We could be, you know what, it's expired, right? It's expired. That's all we know. That's all we need to know. That's all. When I heard that, okay, that's all we need to know. So it is what it is. Well, fine. The contract's expired. Cool. Let's move on. Let Tyson Fury fight his tune-up or fight, whoever. Caballero, when the Caballero fights, all of a sudden, when it all of a sudden vanished, and the whole perception, the idea, the fight just disappeared like a fucking mirage in the desert. If you guys can remember that, we went from Frank Warren talking about, the fight has already been signed. He's already decided to take the money for the fight, and and I think that Tyson's ready for this fight, and we're moving on. You guys remember that? Wilder will KO White and Fury again. He said with Fury again. I whooped him. I already knocked him out. They cheated me. Cujo, Fury and AJ will happen, but I don't think there will be a rematch if Fury wins. Well, no, Cujo. Look, I could told you that. I agree with you 100%. Fury is not a guy to give people rematches. And if he can get away with it, he's been doing the same shit he's been doing for the last 6 years. You know what I mean? He's been doing the same shit he's been doing for the last 6 years. Get into it with when the fighter that is that threat, that is that competition for him, and he happens to win, he ain't doing rematches. Look at it this way, people. Rain in rush hour, even slower driving, just my luck. Be careful, Nikki Blue Eyes Austin, please. Sit back, relax, and hear this man rant. And his first name ain't Scants. Fury needs to warm up fights. He's not the baddest man in heavyweight boxing. No, well, here's the thing. It's all about perception, best life. If you're undefeated, you can always say you're undefeated. Nobody beat you. But then here's the deal. The tune-up fights are what gives him most of his girth. Okay? His girth comes from tune-up fights. It don't come from big fights. Let's look at this. Let's look at a sandwich, right? And let's look at all the things in that a sandwich that could be on a sandwich. But what you see two sides, right? Fury's career is like a sandwich. It's a sandwich that you're looking at and you're like, okay, what's in the motherfucker? Some lettuce, a tomato, a slice of ham, slice of turkey, right? Slice of bacon. But you don't really see much in it. You just see two sides. And the two sides of the sandwich that is Tyson Fury's career is Klitschko, Wilder. Sandwich. You guys get that? What's inside that shit really ain't much. What's inside is a bunch of fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? It's the thing that builds up his resume are these tune-ups. So you guess what? Those are tune-ups inside that those slices of bread. Right? And you have Klitschko and you have Wilder, right, holding that sandwich together. That's all that really is. That's the best way I can look at Fury's resume. You might have a string of lettuce in there, but most of that shit, yeah, it's mustard, ketchup, mayonnaise, right? Those are represents the tune-up because there's nothing really. Is it a big fucking steak in there? Is it a steak sandwich cut in two with onions on? No. Is it a triple decker turkey? No. None of that shit. You got Swartz, Violin, which guys had never been tested. They were young, undefeated guys, but they never been tested. You had Safiri and Pianetta, right? Those are the four guys that he fought, right? Other than that, you had who? Who did you have? Right? You had Wilder, right? So you might have that one thin piece of fucking meat in there, and that was Wilder. So you had Klitschko, ketchup, mustard, mayo, then one little thin piece of Wilder, then ketchup, mayo, mustard, then Wilder. You see what I'm saying? So that's how it is, you know? Keep watching the sandwich. It is what it is. That is Tyson Fury's resume. Now, if you look at it, you're like, oh, I got a big sandwich. No, you really don't. You just got Texas toast. It looks big, but it's really not. Okay? Whereas other people, like let's say White has a fucking triple decker. Counterpunch. Okay. Turpentine, what's with the fight? Frank and Bob sabotaging 2.0. You know what? I don't know what's going on with it. Best life is like Texas toast. The shit's thick, right? Vladimir Klitschko is one part of it, is a piece of that toast, that Texas toast, that thick buttery ass Texas toast, and Wilder's the bottom part that's holding the sandwich together. But understand, what's in between that shit ain't nothing but a lot of thick ass ketchup, mustard, mayo. Bologna sandwich with Texas toast. You know, hey, it could be equivalent of a bologna sandwich, right? Why is Eddie Hearn saying that AJ and Fury could fight 10 times and that'd be a different outcome each time? Slotello presents. Now, I did hear that, you know, and you know what? I'm going to counterpunch that later on. I'm glad you said that. I didn't like that. I didn't like that shit at all. I didn't like that at all. Because it's like, why would you say that about your fighter? Why, you know, you're representing AJ. So why don't you say, I think AJ would beat this guy again and again? Now, maybe he's trying to make a little intrigue or whatever, like, hey, this is a 50-50 fight. So if a 50-50 fight, you have different outcomes. Maybe he meant that. But for favoritism by being a promoter, because a promoter, you're supposed to be biased. You know what I mean? You don't supposed to, you know, talk about that type of shit. Maybe a trainer might say that, you know, but he's training the fighter to avoid the possibility to prepare him for somebody that can possibly beat him. Not a promoter. A promoter's job is to promote his fighter, not the other fighter. So with him doing that, to me, makes me think like he's promoting the other fighter. Yeah, that's a shit move by Eddie. I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't agree with that. Like, what do you mean? Motherfucker, I can beat him every time. I can beat him 10 times out of 10. Because I beat him once, I'll beat him again. I'm the guy to do it. That's why he don't want to fight me. I kicked his ass in sparring. I can do it again. Counterpunch. That's how I would look at it. But Eddie Hearn would, I think he's trying to put that seasoning in there, you know. But sometimes you don't need that seasoning. Sometimes that seasoning can just make you sneeze. You know? Edwin Morris, my papa say jive turkey a lot. I know, right? Jive turkey. Chain with ice. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. I don't understand how Wilder constantly gets put as a top fighter. He has fought one good fighter. He was his prime, never mind the second time. And then there was Fury, who is a top class boxer. Ryan Brown. Look, here's the thing about, you got to be real about what we're saying about Wilder. If Wilder ain't a good fighter, he was the champion for a long time. Did he fight good opposition? No, he didn't. The last couple years, he went from this to this as far as opposition, but it wasn't really a lot. He really consists of two guys, right? Ortiz and Fury. Now, Stavern, shit. Areola, shit. Spilka, shit. Washington, shit. Look, all those guys that he fought, they weren't on the level like a Ortiz, because Ortiz was at first, what can he do with that guy? He's undisputed too, like him. So he fought him, he beat him, you know. But, you know, before that guy, Luis Ortiz, got in the ring, everybody said he was old, right? That was his thing. So everybody tried to downplay it. And I honestly thought that was some bullshit, you know, for a lot of reasons. But he really fought that guy, you know, and that guy got him in trouble. You remember the first fight? He caught him with a right hook. Wilder didn't see it. Wilder buckled. He took an ass whooping for the rest of that fight. The referee let him, you know, then gave him fucking 30 seconds on the next round to help him recover. That type of bullshit. Those things happen. Okay, so then he gave him another opportunity. So, I mean, at least he gave him another opportunity because he knew something he did was wrong. Wilder said, I want to right my wrongs. What do you think he meant? Because the way he beat Ortiz the first fight wasn't cool. You know, I mean, he hit this man in the back of the head, clubbed him, and then slung him into the ropes. The referee didn't do shit. The referee didn't give him any warning or any of that, you know. But the point I'm trying to make is he did raise his opposition. Okay, so Ortiz wasn't no slouch. He had beat everybody in the ring in front of him. I mean, you can only beat the guys that beat everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So if you did that, okay, that's what his claim to fame. Now, he fought Fury. He dropped Fury twice. Fury was a guy that ain't did shit in 3 years, but beat Klitschko. Okay, so he wasn't active enough to be a top heavyweight. Let's be real. So if you're talking about, well, Tyson Fury was a top heavyweight, well, what made Tyson Fury such a top heavyweight? Counterpunch. What, by beating the mustard, mayo, and ketchup? That don't get you to top heavyweight. I hope not. You guys think him beating Otto Vailane and Tom Schwartz and Pianetta and Safiri, do you think that makes him a top heavyweight? Then you beat Wilder, always the best fucking thing you ever seen. I don't get that. How do you make that the case? Well, he beat Klitschko. Okay, 5 years ago. Try again. What else? What has he done lately besides beat Wilder? Oh, you beat Wilder twice. Well, a lot of people thought he beat him twice, but then again, I mean, who else has he fought? But then again, Wilder's not a top fighter. You beat a guy that's not a top fighter. How does beating a guy not a top fighter make you a top fighter? We got to be real now. So if you want to talk about Wilder, you better start talking about Fury too, because it's like, hey, I ain't fight nobody. Hey, I ain't fight nobody. Let's fight each other, and then we'll both beat somebody. That's what I'm saying. You know, where's the Whites, the Joshuas? Where's the Parkers? Right? Where are these guys? Come on now. Eddie's a businessman. We saw him, how he is doing Billy Joe Saunders. Well, I think Billy Joe Saunders at this point needs to really focus on the fight itself. You know, because he's in there with a guy that's regarded as one of the best fighters in the world, that is regarded as one of the top fighters in the world, and he may or may not still have the Mexican protection plan. Okay, so And it looks like he does. It looks like he still does. But I think him revving up against Eddie Hearn is not really a good thing. I mean, if you're Eddie Hearn, what would you do? I think Eddie Hearn should balance it out a bit to ensure that he's doing that. But Billy Joe saying that doing this, his dad and him mentioning it, mentioning it to IFL TV and mentioning it to Eddie Hearn, and then Tyson Fury going back along with his dad going back saying, hey, I don't think you guys are really treating my son fair and all this, that, and the other. Well, I don't think that's really helping him. That could be a distraction. Well, look, let's put it this way. For Billy Joe, I hope it's not a distraction. I hope it's motivation. But see, here's the thing. If it's not motivation, it is a distraction. And if it is a distraction and he loses to like a decision or whatever, or, if he loses, let's put it that way, it's going to look like an excuse. So that's the problem with that, because then you're gonna blame everybody else except what happened in the fight. I think he should focus on the fight itself, because he knows there's other things outside this of what's going on that's affecting this, but you have to worry about this. He can only control at this point what happens inside the ring. All that other shit is just politic bullshit. He needs to focus on what he can do to Canelo Alvarez. See, here's the thing. This is my thing. At best, if Canelo Alvarez is still protected on high like he was with Golden Boy, the best outcome for Billy Joe is to get a draw or to get a high split decision. You either want a Golovkin 1, Canelo 1, or a Canelo Lara 1. Okay, because see, then we'll start breaking together. Then Canelo will truly get the reputation of being that guy that doesn't like rematches, because either that fight was too difficult and he got hit like he got with the Lara, or he got outworked like he did with Golovkin and they gave it a draw. You know what I'm saying? So it was one of those fights. Golovkin was stupid for fighting him again. Golovkin would have been okay if he would have kept his belts and continued on and fought Deverenchenko and all those and remained that guy, and he would have eventually received the undisputed middleweight championship of the world. That's what he wanted. But when he fought Canelo, he turned into a fucking diva, and then he wanted to fight Canelo again for more diva money, for no more diva rights. Okay? So with Billy Joe, I think he needs to focus on the fight at hand and focus on what he can do to beat Canelo Alvarez round after round after round. It doesn't matter how it appears. Canelo is the man. Canelo is the new big swinging dick on Matchroom. Okay, and that's a big land for Matchroom. And Eddie knows that. So Billy Joe, he has to understand that. But I hope it motivates him. I hope it motivates him. So, there you go. The boxing source. Outside of Vlad, what was his best win outside of Wilder? There you go. Derek Chisora. That's about it. And that was a long fucking time ago. And even though Tyson Fury was the first person to beat Derek Chisora, he was the first person to do it. So it is what it is. The truth, Kurt. Truths, Kurt. Truths. Love it. Phobe Christian, appreciate you. You're making too much sense, pimping. I mean, I could only just talk the truth about all this shit about boxing. It is all set up for the money. I remember something that Teddy Atlas said, and he's been around fucking forever, since Costamato, Tyson, right? Bradley, Junior Jones, and Moore, all those guys. He's been around for a very long time, and he gets disgusted with these type. The thing we know about boxing, to expect boxing. Hold on a second. One moment. You've guys heard me say this again and again and again, right? Now, this is one of my new shirts, right? classic, modern shirt, new design. Look at the back. Boxing, the sport that I love, that I hate so much. That's true. People ask me what that means. That means that the things I love about boxing are the things I'm going to always love about boxing, but the things I hate about boxing are going to be equally the same. And this is what's going to happen. With boxing, you're going to have to understand the politics will always be there. Unless they have some national comes in and gets rid of all the sanctioning bodies, and they have one particular national system. And people have to fight each other according to that, or you get booted out. There won't be any of all these fucking promoters all over the world. Won't be any of that. That at all. Right? And if you're good enough to be a part of the American League, like, the NFL or the National Baseball League or the NBA, if it's not like that, National Boxing League or something like that, if it's something like that, that's what you're going to deal with. But until we get that, we're going to always have bullshit like this, because people are going to look at it. Okay, that guy, he's undefeated. He's got all the money, and we could tie him against this guy, but this guy could beat him. So we're going to hold and drag that fight out. Now, there's other guys that might decision him if that other fight didn't exist, but this is not what it's about. It's not about who's the best at this particular fight. It's about how this fighter can handle that. See, Canelo Alvarez beating Erislandy Lara, it would the significance was, he put his record on the line. He gave him a shot, but that's not good enough. You got to beat the guy. So they were more worried about, hey man, here, Canelo didn't even have to fight Lara. Look at it like that. Okay, but he had to beat Lara. So that just shows you. But it's always, if you follow the money in boxing. You follow the money in boxing. Wilder is history. We'll see where Wilder is. We don't know if Wilder's history or not. We just seen the man do some pretty good pad work. He still shows that right hand. I don't know. Maybe Malik Scott was, kind of, exaggerating a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe he was torquing his arm back. You know what I'm saying? When he was taking that right hand. Maybe he was. But I heard thump, right? I heard thump behind that punch from Wilder. And I was like, okay, that right hand is there now. I wouldn't going to get hit with that right hand. Okay? Especially when he catches you on the end of that shot. So you understand something about Wilder. Wilder is a one-trick guy. Now, I don't know if he can punch with any other hand. I just know the right is the most powerful. I'm not going to go into all that. What I will say is, if you know that you use one hand to take people out or to hurt people, right? Yeah, Wallin did beat Brazil already. That's why it's less significant. He's falling on down the pole. Well, Kurt, why do people go to Blue Blood for boxing knowledge? A bus driver isn't who you want to go for boxing. Well, hey, here's the thing. Anybody can know about the sport of boxing, though. He lost that one on paper, no doubt about it. Did he outpoint Canelo? Yes. Did Canelo? How many times Canelo hit him to the face? Does anybody know? Does anybody know how many times Canelo Alvarez hit Erislandy Lara in 12 fucking rounds? Does anybody know? He hit him 24 fucking times that whole fight in the head. 24. That's 2 punches around. 2 headshots around. 24. So it's not even half that, Skrilla 50. It ain't even half that. But anyway, what were we talking about? 24 headshots. That's it. Washington was a replacement for who? Wilder was coming off surgery from the Areola fight. Yeah, 24. But listen, what I was talking about Wilder, okay? Wilder knows if he can catch you, that's why you think he spreads his legs apart and keeps you distant, because he wants to be in position to throw the right hand. Now understand, he wants to catch you at the very end of that extent. He don't want to catch you short. That's not where the power is generated. The power is generated when he comes and hits you here, when his whole arm is extended. He has some long ass arms. So if you have long arms like that, you need wider distance, right? Because you want to land that punch. Wilder knows he's perfected. Okay, there it is. There it is. There it is. Let me jab. Okay, he's coming in. Let me block up. Now this is what I want to see from Wilder. What they practice, I want to see him do. That's why I would prefer Wilder to use head movement and counter off that head movement. Slip the jab, right? Just something simple, not slip, 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 to show you have the ability to do it. You need to work that defense and add offense to it. So that's one thing that I would do. If I was with Wilder, I would teach him to be more of a counter puncher. He can counter punch with that right hand. Jab. You know what I mean? And then follow with a jab. Then another right hand. See, combinations I think could help Wilder. Because if he's throwing combinations, you're like, well, shit, not only I got to wait for the right, I got to worry about the right hand. I also got to worry about all these other fucking long-ass shots that he's throwing. Dude, he's throwing 50 punches around. He's keeping his jab in my face. He's jabbing me. He's jabbing me. He's jabbing in left hand. Now I got to worry about the right. So I'm trying to, but I'm getting hit with the left hook now. Laura wasn't robbed. Canelo won showbiz. He adult debunked that. Listen, Mexican super macis Mexican. Okay. When people say robbery, that's kind of a harsh thing. I think the wrong guy got the decision. Isn't that too late by now? He's 34 years old. Who's 34 years old? Wilder has a God-given gift. He wastes. He could be a great fighter if he made adjustments. Yeah. Red or dead. Yeah, Wilder's 35. Supremacist. Okay, cool. I'm like, super. It's the funniest shit. I was watching Black Mirror. And then when words are bunched together like that, it's like the first one, it's called nosedive. I call that shit nosedive. It's crazy on the inside. I mean, a good friend, we talk about that shit all the time. I'm like, what's that first? She said, what the hell are you talking about? I said, well, yeah, nosedive. What the fuck is nosedive? Sorry, just reading other things in other languages too long, I guess. Clayton Gordon, shout out Kirk from the UK. Shout out to you, brother. What? Watch the fight again with no sound and watch Laura get cooled off by all the missed shots. Yeah, people look at that too and they forget the minute. How many times you seen a fight like that? Billy Joe isn't a fly Cuban like Lara. But he's a southpaw, and I think he has a lot more. But see, I think that gives Canelo a lot more. See, when you're a busy fighter, you give Canelo opportunities to open up. See, with Lara, he's a pure boxer. Pure boxers like Lara, he ain't giving Canelo shit. If Canelo tries to set a trap, that trap's going to be foiled by a straight left. And then Lara will reset by moving. See, that's the problem. When a counterpuncher will always get frustrated by a pure boxer. Why? Because a pure boxer will see the trap. Okay, in Lara's situation, he's seen Canelo trying to move in and do the head movement and shit like that. What he does, he whacks him with a left and moves. And then when he moves, he eludes. And when he eludes, that's when Canelo tries to throw a left and Lara's over here because he's already slipped the left hook. Or the right hand. Now, when Canelo started throwing body punches, he hit him with some decent body punches, but I don't think that was enough to win the fight. Because, see, if that was the case, I'm going to take you guys back. If Canelo beating Lara, that's how favoritism is. If Canelo beat Lara by body punching, that means that Marco Antonio Barrera should have beat Junior Jones in their second fight. If you guys ever see that fight, and I looked at him like Barrera did a pretty good job, you know, but it was more of a balanced attack. But then again, here's the thing. If it was controversy, which it is, why wasn't there a fucking rematch? You see what I mean? They just moved on and got the fuck out of Dodge. Roland Romero said Canelo beat Lara and he is Cuban. Chain with Ice, he's half Cuban. And Romero and Rolly Romero's a cocksucker. He lost the fucking, he really got his ass beat by Jackson Martinez. Facts. They robbed that man in a bubble. Now that is a robbery. I don't want to hear about Rolly Romero on this fucking channel. That dude is a clown. He's a fucking clown. The guy sits there and he talks a bunch of shit about Devin Haney and all these other guys where he needs fucking passes. People give him fights. You know what I mean? Fuck Rolly. He got beat by fucking Jackson Martinez. They robbed that Dominican. It was fucked up. Why? Because that Dominican was unknown. The same shit that happened to Lara. And it makes me sick. That's the type of shit I'm talking about. The sport that I love that I hate so much right there. Okay, Lara gave Canelo a boxing lesson, right? Okay, cool. He gave him a boxing lesson. So did Jackson Martinez. How did Jackson Martinez beat Rolly? Rolly had the big bombs, right? Cool. But could he land them? No. What happened? He got his fucking face boxed off. Tony, what's his name? From Detroit, beat Jermell Charlo. Tony Harrison beat Jermell Charlo, right? He beat him with a fucking jab. See that? But when the fix is in, the fix is in. Things don't supposed to go a certain way. They ain't going to go that way. The powers that be is going to make sure that. Rolly Romero is just protected in that situation. Then he has the nerve to talk shit about anybody. And Rolly Romero would think that because Rolly Romero's not a boxer. He's not a boxer. He's a puncher that has he has overrated punching power. Because if he would have been that rated, he would have got Jackson Martinez out of there. He couldn't set his shit up because that fucking Dominican boxed his ass. Jackson, he boxed him round after round after round, and he knew he won. How did he know he won? See, you can tell with the energy when people know that they did a good job. If you're a fighter and you know, I beat this dude's ass round after round after round. What did Jackson Martinez do? Maria! Remember that shit? After that bell, that 12th round bell, Maria! Because he knew I won this shit. This dude couldn't hurt me with his bombs. He couldn't catch me. I boxed him all night. I kept him guessing. I kept resetting. I kept boxing him. I did that shit for 12 rounds. Okay? What did Lara do? Lara jumped up on the front rope and was like, did that shit. Done it. Because he knew he had won that fight by simply outboxing that guy. They had to tell Canelo, sube, dale. Because they had to tell him, go up there, make him see like you won. That shit was real. If you look at that shit again, that's what you see. Look at Lara Canelo, I think it's All Access. Look at the epilogue. Look at the fucking epilogue. Look at Canelo's fucking eye. It looked like a fucking swollen vajayjay. You know what I mean? That's what it is. That's what it is. That's the shit I'm talking about. So fuck Rolly Romero with his overrated punching power. He ain't that good. I can't wait for somebody to tap that ass. I can't wait for somebody to tap him. He's been capping ever since he robbed that guy. He didn't rob him. Somebody helped him. He had help. Yeah, Lara got cut one fucking time. But was he fucked up besides that? And he got caught with an uppercut, right? And that was another factor. Body shots in the 9th round, he caught him. And it was a beautiful, because he fainted him. Okay? Mayweather did. Hey, here's another thing. Mayweather, a majority decision, and Mayweather schooled Canelo. The fucking fix was attempted to be in, and they knew it. Mayweather knew, even though he was the A side, they wanted that fucking guy to win. If Canelo would have done maybe probably a job that Cotto did with Mayweather, they probably would have robbed Mayweather. That's facts. Because Mayweather was like 114. What the fuck is this? You guys remember that? Come on now. Look, majority decision. How many people, please, on this channel right now, how many people think that fucking Floyd Mayweather majority decision Canelo? I'll rest my fucking case. But CJ Ross, they got the fuck out of there. Chain with ice. CJ Ross had to go. She had to go. That's why. Because we know that was bullshit too. You know what I mean? That was bullshit too, but she had to go. But good old Floyd, Al Heyman, those guys, that's how you do shit. You get that bitch out of here. Bye. You can't, no. Get the fuck out of here, please. So she was never in that round again. She was never in a judge. Look, the one judge gave it a draw. She was the judge that gave it a draw. Get her ass out of here, because like those type of people that can be bought, they shouldn't be in the sport of boxing. Forgive me, but yeah, I got a little bent. But that her ass had to go. Okay. You know what I mean? If she ain't a bitch in real life, she was a bitch for doing that. How about that? But the boxing source, so you're just going to deny how boxing works now. And Stavern wasn't a contender. Stavern was lined up as an easy win for Povetkin to regain his mandatory shot again. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. That's why Stavern is not anyone I look at like that. Wilder ducked any two competition, not just AJ. Billy Joe is capable of outboxing Canelo. Yes, he is. But will that be enough to beat Canelo? That we will see. But see, that's what he should be focused on. Fuck what everybody else says. Make that shit. Look, I don't care if Billy Joe makes that shit a Tyson Fury Klitschko. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Samir. Who was the what? Who was the underdog for what? Beckham popped for Peds for a second time that same year, so Stavern was elevated to mandatory. I mean, that's basically what it is. Shit. That should tell you a lot. What would have happened if he beat Povetkin? Really think Wilder ducked AJ. I think Wilder ducked the possibility of fighting AJ because he didn't know if he could beat AJ. Because that's one thing. Okay. Let's go back. Let me break it down to you guys very easily, right? All right. This is what happened with Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, and Anthony Joshua. What was Deontay Wilder saying about Tyson Fury? What did he say about Tyson Fury's punching power? What did he say? Can you guys tell me, what did Deontay Wilder say about Tyson Fury's punching power? Pillow fist, pillow fist, pillow fist. He can't punch. Fella dusters, pillow fist, right? Pillow fisted. Mac 28, the boxing source. Pitt and Paul, Fernando Rivera. Quan, big guns, can't punch. Ryan Harris, Mac 28, right? Now look, pillow fist, right? Pillow fist, pillow fist. That's what we were saying. Now, how would you look at a guy like that if you knew this guy couldn't punch? How would you look at that guy as a threat to you? Here we go with the Wilder hate. It ain't Wilder hate, motherfucker. I'm just telling you what he said. That's the difference. He said that Fury can't punch. How is Fury any type of dominance to him? It just, you can't make this shit up. Did he ever say that Joshua couldn't punch? Have you ever seen Wilder say, what, Anthony Joshua can't punch? Right? Now, he said other shit, but did he say that, though? So that should tell you automatically where Wilder stood. Like, should I fight Fury again? Why am I going to fight Fury? Because it's easier. Because my perception, this guy can't hurt me. All I'm going to do, I'm going to really knock him out this time. He ain't going to hurt me with them pillow fists. I'm going to knock his ass out. And then I'm going to think about Anthony Joshua. Now, you have to understand. I'm going to think about that if Joshua beats Andy, because if Andy beats Joshua a second time, because remember, Joshua had got beat and dethroned by that time, right? Yeah, he turned down the $100 million. Then Joshua gets beat, right? Then Andy Ruiz comes about. Then he wants to get with Andy Ruiz. These are facts. There ain't nothing I'm making the shit up or nothing like that. So how Wilder wanted it, well, hey, I want to fight Fury. I want to fight Fury. I want to fight Fury. Now, could Wilder KO Anthony Joshua? Yes, he could. He catch him with one of those shots at the end of those punches, like I demonstrated earlier about 10 minutes ago. If he catches Joshua come in with those shots, yes, he can him. But by that admission, he can do that with anybody. Yes, he can. Okay, but if Joshua hurt, because we have to look at it, because they never fought each other, right? So we have to look at it in the situations where they were hurt, right? Let's look at Klitschko. Klitschko hurt Joshua. When he hurt Joshua, Joshua got up. But then what happened? It took him a long time to recover. I don't think, honestly, that Wilder would give Joshua that amount of time to recover for 2 or 3 rounds. I don't think that. So, no, I'm not biased. I think Joshua would have got either windmilled to death or some shit like that. And Wilder would have been... Wilder would have been all on his shit, as he knew to do, which anybody should do, the way he knew how to do. But in that same token, if you look at how Ortiz hurt Deontay Wilder, Ortiz gave Wilder a beating in that 7th round. But you think if that was Joshua that did that shit and Wilder got hurt like that, Joshua would have finished Wilder because he knows what to hit him with, how to hit him with the combination he possessed, right? Yeah, he would have beat the brakes off of Wilder if he would have hurt him. So that's the significance of it. You got 2 guys that were 2 champions, right? And they both could punch. One was more of a combination puncher, golden Olympian. The other one was a one-hit puncher that could knock your brains out, which was a bronze Olympian. Both champions, though. Both undefeated at the time. Now they're not. They both got 1 loss. But what does that mean? That means who the fuck hits who first? Or gets the best of who first? Now, what would impress me about Wilder? If Wilder fought Joshua, got hurt by Joshua, got dropped by Joshua, gets up and beats Joshua, that would be an icon. I would love to see that fight 3 more times. Why? Because the outcome could be different each and every time. Now that is that. Now, when you're dealing with someone that doesn't even believe a guy that can punch, how are you going to convince me that guy is not looking at that guy like a cherry pick? Do I have to say that shit again? Do I have to say that shit again? I mean, if you don't believe a guy can punch, right? If you don't believe a guy can punch, how can I be convinced that guy's not looking at that guy like he's a cherry pick? He's like, dude, you can't even fucking punch. So if you can't punch, you can't hurt me. But I know I can hurt you. I dropped you fucking twice. But what happened? See, the unthinkable happened. The unthinkable, the unimaginable happened. What happened? Okay. What happened is Deontay Wilder got hurt by Tyson Fury. Okay, now the shit has to begin. Now this has to come up because I am convinced I felt that man's punching power. But what didn't make sense to me with the Glovegate shit, let's go there for just a second, is, okay, you called him a pillow puncher, so how the fuck could he have cheated you in the first fight? Floppy gloves or not, obviously, it wouldn't shit in the floppy gloves because you said he can't punch. Drop the fucking mic, people. Do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't even make sense. So Glovegate 1, scratch that shit out. Now his right hand with the steel shot, okay, go with that then. Because that shit about, the floppy glove and shit like that, we seen Muhammad Ali do that shit. We seen his ugly sparring partner do that shit. We've seen those shits happen. Okay, that's what happens. And that's what happened. You flick a jab to keep him back. That is what it is. Good afternoon and greetings from the UK. Keep up the tremendous work. Sonny, appreciate you, man. Thank you. I'll buy that Skrilla 50. You can see Wilder's punches coming. You can a lot of times, and you did in the first fight a lot. But I think Wilder was able to throw that right hand more straighter, like he caught Ruiz with. Now, that one that, what's his name? trouble, Brazil, the one Wilder hit him with, that motherfucker should have saw that coming. But of course, we're talking about somebody that is like molasses, right? We know Dominic Brazil is slow. Like I told you guys, Wilder was going to knock him out because he's too slow. Not saying he didn't have something to hurt Wilder with, but if you see it coming, coming like a fucking slower version of a George Foreman, I mean, it would have to be a crime for you to get hit with a punch like that, unless you just reacted too quick. Oh shit! I moved too fast. The punch was too slow. All right, like a slow ass curveball. Egg-shaped weights in the gloves. Yeah, see, all that shit started. I seen a Malik Scott t-shirt saying Wilder against everyone. Do you mean everyone out of the top 10? No, I think that's more of Wilder against everyone. I think that's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, if it was reversed, I would say everybody was against him. That would make more sense. Then, we could bring up all the shit with the officials, but I really don't know what that means. Maybe, hopefully it means him challenging everybody. Let's see what he does. Hey, now, Foreman was fast. See what he did to Ken Norton? Went faster than Ali. Malik, the diver. Yeah, Malik. Yeah, Malik Scott, the diver, the guy that took that dive in that fight against, he didn't hit. He didn't even connect with what that punch with Wilder. He did that because we look at the end result. The end result is Malik Scott was on his way out of the boxing realm. He wasn't going to take a hard shot from Wilder. Wilder was his friend. Wilder, he was going to continue to get a job in the sport by training with Wilder like he's been doing. Look at what he's doing right now. Look, the end result is a lot of things. Like, it pretty much, you see how things unfold. People say, oh, well, he got hit with a floating temple shot? Yeah, floating temple shot. Yeah, like Lennox Lewis. Yeah, he got hit with a floating temple shot. Fuck out of here. No, he didn't. He didn't get caught. He got grazed with a left hook, and the right hand did not catch. It didn't even not connect. Yeah, it's a phantom punch. Yeah. I mean, that's the phantom punch. Yeah, that's what happens when you get hit with a phantom punch. Can't make that shit up, man. Yeah, floating rip shot, man. Yeah, it's a floating rip shot and a phantom punch. You like those punches. You can look, Larry. I don't know what you're talking about, Larry. I don't know what you're talking about, Larry. These punches exist. You just can't see them. Yeah, sure. Yeah, for Wilder, I mean, he's fast with the velocity. He created a phantom punch. Remember how happy Wilder was when Ruiz won. He shouldn't have been angry that he wasn't the one to beat AJ. That's how I see it. Yeah, we kind of punched all that shit. Because I sit back and I'm like, yo, I had the perfect analogy for that, but I don't know the names of the guys. And when I get the names, I'm gonna shout it out in the next the next live. Yeah, that was a joke. But see, Ortiz was hitting him. Malik was falling all over the place. He went 12 rounds. And you guys understand, Ortiz was with Matchroom then. No, I don't think Effie's in the big league yet. I think he's still building his resume. He's going to be like the next dynamic guy, from Wilder. But he's now with ESPN. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, Mac 28, back to that. Yeah, he was too happy when he won. I mean, that just showed this is what it showed me about Wilder. It showed me that Wilder, he was happy to see somebody fall that he necessarily didn't intend on fighting. But I'm going to tell you, it's a little deeper than that. Not only did he intend on fighting Joshua, he didn't really like Joshua. But what reason would he have not to like Joshua? You can tell he didn't like him. Let's just be real. Is this biased to what I'm saying? So a lot of people would say, "Oh man, you hating on Wilder." No, Wilder was loving the idea of another man's downfall. Okay, and when Ruiz beat the piss out of Joshua, Wilder had a whole statement like he didn't have a heart of a champion. His whole career was based off lies and contradictions. You think about like you said all this shit like as though this man's career was over. This was like a fucking synopsis of a person's career after one professional loss. Now, for all the people that says that Deontay Wilder's done, okay, well, understand the same people that have that spirit is the same spirit that that motherfucker had against Anthony Joshua. See, life's a bitch. Life's a ever vicious cycle. When you do people wrong, when you do people wrong, other people going to do you wrong in the same situation because it happened to him. Ironically, the same round, the 7th round, they stopped that shit because Wilder was beating the fuck out of you. He was beating Wilder like he almost had a flog in his hand. Wilder was like, karma. That's it. Have you ever witnessed a Joe Joyce interview? Yeah. I've witnessed one. Yeah, it was. Everyone saying AJ was done, not just Wilder, Kurt. A lot of people were saying that. A lot of people were. Now, but here's the thing. I'm not talking about a lot of people, though. Okay? Julson, I'm not talking about a lot of people. I'm talking about the fucking WBC or the former WBC heavyweight champion of the world. That's who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about everybody else. I'm talking about that man and how that man felt about that other guy. You see what I'm saying? That's the fucking difference. I'm not saying, well, other people said it. I'm not talking about other people. I'm talking about Wilder and how Wilder felt about Joshua and how what he really meant to him. So if you go back and you look at the mindset of a person, this happened in 19, right? So 2 years before that, the last time Wilder saw Joshua, he was fist bumping him. He was the commentator on Sky Sports when Joshua was taking on the more experienced Klitschko. That with his last hurrah had one hell of a fight, and he was telling Joshua, "Hey, I need to do the same shit over here in the States. This shit's popping. This shit's booming." Then you go from that to 2 years later. Then all his whole career was made of lies and contradictions. He didn't have a heart of a champion. Well, I mean, I'm like this. I'm like, okay, well, where did all this animosity come from? What created the energy for you to type this fucking synopsis on social media about this man that just took a loss? I didn't get it. Then you only look at it just like Best Life. You know, it had to be jealousy. Or better yet, baby, not even jealousy. Envy. That's one word that people misconstrued with jealousy. They might be first cousins, but guess what? They're totally different. See, it's envy is what you want something that the other person already has. Jealousy is something that you are afraid someone else can take from you. Like you can be jealous of a girlfriend because you see somebody else looking at her, and you're like, okay, or him or whatever, and you're like, okay, well, hey, you know what? I don't like this dude looking at her. Because that's the jealousy builds because it's the fear of that person coming to her one day, stepping to her, and you're like, hey, you know what? Hey, I want to take you out. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the way your boyfriend treats you or whatever. I can treat you better. You know what I mean? And that might all go in his mind like that. That's jealousy because it's the fear of somebody else or that person leaving. You know, envy is a place where you don't like a person because you want what they already have. Okay, does that make sense? So when we break it down like that, Wilder loved to say that because he hated the idea of Anthony Joshua having all this money, making all these big endorsements and all this shit and being praised and talked about and all these belts and this, that, and the other. And at the same damn time, he's sitting back and he should have been looking at his team and wondering, like, why am I not marketed like Joshua? That's what he should have been telling his team. Not hating on Joshua, getting with Joshua. You know what I mean? But Joshua was a champion. See, for the show of hands, let me ask you guys before I close, because I know I've been talking for a while. How many times did Anthony Joshua call out Deontay Wilder? when Joshua beat Klitschko. How many times did you hear Wilder's name in that arena after that fight was over? Can somebody answer that question? How many did someone hear that? How many times did Deontay Wilder's name get mentioned after that classic fight back in was it April or March of 17? Zero. Okay. He called out Fury. Good call, Brandon. It was April. Okay, cool. You know, you didn't. JR, you didn't. You're not. Ryan Harris, zero. Listen, no one knew Wilder then. No one really knew him then. He was the champion, yes. But you know who Deontay Wilder was in 17? Let's get real. Let's get real. He was Trevor Bryant right now. He was Trevor Bryant. He was the current day Trevor Bryant right now. That's who he was. It ain't nothing against him. He was not known like that. He was the Trevor Bryant. Trevor Bryant is the WBA regular, right? Ain't he the regular? Okay, fair enough. Deontay Wilder was the WBC. But what was the heavyweight division really before that fight? Shit. Think about it. What was the heavyweight division before Anthony Joshua versus Klitschko? Fury. You didn't have no Fury. Fury wasn't even around no more. He was getting fat doing coke and drinking like a fish. Right? So, I mean, who was that? Who was there then? Kurt is such a casual who knows nothing about boxing or about the business side of boxing thereof, and it's not even funny. Well, Barry Wilson, you can go to see whoever you need that you think that is. That's fine. But there's nobody there. Klitschko and his brother that retired. He retired way before Vladimir. But here's the deal. Vladimir was that last guy that had the division sold up. Fury beat him. Fury had a rematch. Fury didn't give him that rematch. Fury retired. Then what did we have? We still had Klitschko. But it was a big void because who knew about the heavyweight division? Heavyweight division really wasn't the shit then. Okay, it wasn't anything until Fury. Okay, well, wow, Fury beat back in 15. That's 5 years ago. But then Fury didn't do anything to reign to show his dominance. So it still was like, okay, well, he beat Klitschko, and then what? Right? Now you got, you have Wilder. Well, Wilder wasn't fighting anybody. But there really wasn't anybody. The only person that was around was Vladimir Klitschko still. Tyson Fury was retired. Then you had younger guys like Anthony Joshua that started fucking a half a decade before Deontay Wilder and all those other guys. Now, I was told that Wilder wanted the Klitschko fight. But guess what? They wouldn't give it to him. We know the story. We know the fucking stories. It ain't even stories, it's facts. Shelly Finkel did not want Deontay Wilder to do that. Therefore, he didn't want him to be a star. Therefore, he wasn't promoted like a fucking star should have been. Or a champion. He was a baby champion. You don't put baby in front of nothing that you want to take serious. Come on. So, Barry Wilson, go fuck yourself. So, if you can debunk anything I said, please do. Because Deontay Wilder and his management did not want him to shine. He was a commentator on the Sky Sports. Deontay Wilder could have took upon himself, hey, you know what? I'm the champion. Why nobody ain't talking about me? You fucking guys got me over here commentating about these two guys. Klitschko, he on his way out. Joshua, I want that motherfucker now. Let's make a unification fight. Why are y'all talking about Fury? Fury's retired. He's at home on the couch, drunk, fat. Come on now. We got to make this make sense. Blue Blood Sports TV slapped the living shit out of you, Kurt, with facts. You're casual, repeating irrelevant talking points. Casual. Barry Wilson, how the fuck did Blue Blood Sports TV slap the shit out of me with facts? What type of facts? The already Kurt just joined the stream. What's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Oh, Barry Wilson, aka Malik Scott. Probably so. Probably so. People can't be themselves. A lot of times people have to have aliases and shit like that, which is cool sometimes. But like when you go on talking shit about it, just be man enough to be who the fuck you really are. But yeah, Blue Blood Sports TV, we had a good fucking back and forth, I figured. But I mean, of course, if you look at one side of that interview or whatever, the live stream was on Lady Sean, shouts out to Lady Sean, then you would think that. But of course, if you're a Wilder fan, I mean, you would take offense of anything I say because all you motherfuckers, damn near all of you guys, are so fucking sensitive like a bunch of bitches. All of you. You can't say anything about Deontay Wilder. Everybody gets all bent. You can say the same shit about Gervonta Tank Davis or anybody else, but you say that against Wilder. Oh, no, don't say that against Wilder. Why not? 42-year-old Vitali would have KO'd Wilder. I don't know if he would have, but I just know that Shelly Finkel did not want him to challenge that idea. Enjoying your analysis here from the UK. Appreciate you. TJ, Marty, Smart. Yeah, I'm hurting their feelings. That's why you're casual, everything. How did I say? Well, Shelly Finkel didn't want him to fight these other guys. That's nothing. There's no lie about any of that shit. Brandon, why didn't Wilder fight Prince Martin? Okay, now I'm glad you said that. And the reason why he didn't fight Charles Martin is because Charles Martin was offered more money from Matchroom to fight Joshua. If you're Charles Martin, what would you do? I don't think Charles Martin ducked Wilder. I think that, and honestly, I don't even know, if that was even a thing back then. I was told that it was, but if you look at things the way they are, he was offered $6 to $8 million to fight Anthony Joshua. So basically, they paid Charles Martin for his belt. That's it. Wilder and those guys, they were making like, $200,000, $500,000, dollars a fight. They weren't making M's. They weren't making M's like that. They weren't making those type of M's. They were indeed making what I guess their management thought they were worth, being, undefeated fighters, being a baby champion. Finkel cherry picked every Wilder fight. He protected Wilder because he looked at Wilder more than just a fighter. He looked at him more as like a family member or like a young nephew or some shit like that. Hand your channel over to Blue Blood Sports TV immediately. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah, I had to get rid of that guy. And then you'll still watch. Counterpunch. So, love your content, bro, from London. Tang. King Midas. Vlad wasn't over the hill, just past his prime. Yeah. I mean, if Vlad was over the hill, he wasn't over the hill. You're right. He wouldn't have been able to do that to Joshua. And if he was over the hill, he wouldn't have got up from that first knockdown to Joshua. Understand, Joshua inflicted more damage to put him down eventually. It was by accumulation of punches, but he was able to do what he did to Vladimir, and Vladimir got the fuck up. Vladimir showed, hey, I ain't over the hill. I might not be that fucking spring chicken, but I'm not over the hill. No, there's no good arguments. It's just, oh, well, They talk about a live stream that I got introduced on. I came on because I knew Blue Blood was there. And I knew what he was talking about. He was talking about the $50 million. As I came on there talking about the $50 million, and he was saying, well, will this, that, and the other happen? We started talking about something else. So we went to another conversation, another topic, you know. But it is what it is. Been drinking that Wilder water. Yeah. I love that AJ climbed back on the top of the mountain. Well, he redeemed himself. And see, that's something yet the other two kings, like Lennox Lewis says, we got three kings, right? Well, the other two haven't showed us that they can do. Right? Tyson Fury's a WBC, and until he gets beat and shows that he can come back, that's one thing. Yes, he had his adversity, outside the ring with the mental illness or whatever, but then, and then if you notice, other people are starting to pull that fucking card. Look at Ryan Garcia. Okay, now a lot of people, oh, we respect that. I'm like, dude, you talking about a kid that fucking young that makes that money, now he got mental health issues, that cocky, that has mental. Okay, let me ask you guys a question, a serious question. I know mental health is real. It's a real deal. How many people, please, partake in this by saying yes or no? How many people believe that Ryan Garcia is suffering from mental illness? By yes or no, please. He said Wilder wasn't ready. He also said that Wilder was his baby champion. He said that. So how many people, please? I need to see these. I need some input. How many people think Ryan Garcia is suffering from mental illness? Okay, we got a yes. Efren Hernandez, Hitman HD. Okay, that's like 2 for Hitman. Like, just one time, brother. Yes. Ricky, okay. Can't answer. Okay, that's fair. Boxing source, nope. Yes, a lot of pressure. Neither did Fury. Mac at 28. I did a Joyce. I did a Michelle Joyce Phelps. A lot. I didn't really want to go there because I don't want to. Because see, mental illness, health, it's like something you shouldn't play with because for one, somebody tells you, "Hey, I'm mentally ill," and then you reply or you do something tactless and say, "No, you're really fucking not. I doubt you." And then they do something, inflict something, some type of pain on themselves. Yeah, I made you do that. Yeah, because see, look, of all the shit that was going on at that time. Oh, I'm suffering from mental illness. You really can look at that as a cop out on both situations. Mental illness, man, you don't like people they were tougher back then. You didn't see all these other people talking about mental illness. Then all of a sudden you gonna fight. Like, okay, here's one thing. All of a sudden you're gonna get, I think it's a card people are pulling out of their ass. Like, yo, I can't do this, it's pressure. Somebody said pressure, right? Yes, lots of pressure. Basan, that doesn't mean mental illness. I mean, everybody gets pressured to do something, but that means I get pressured about work and doing shit, and I gone over here, and I can't help, I can't handle this. I know people have moments where they feel like they break down, they have to take a chill pill, but not like what he's doing. Oh, I'm stepping down and until I feel better. I don't buy that shit. I don't buy it. I'm sorry, I don't. A guy that young and shit like that, no. Wild boar sandwiches and cocaine would make anybody mental. That ain't right. That's not right. He comes through lots of struggle outside the ring. We struggle all mentally, but we have to stay positive and not dwell on our feelings. We are meant to feel high and lows. We need to embrace both. Oh, nice. Nice counterpunch. But I mean, there's no history of this guy that I know of that. Now, Yeah, he loves attention and whatnot, but it's like, okay, let's put it this way with Ryan Garcia. Understand this. He can no longer go back because, see, this is documented now. Now, what he can do, he can use this every time it comes around when shit gets hard. That's what I don't like. Every time when shit gets, now you're fighting Javier Fortuna. Now all of a sudden, oh yeah, I got a lot of things I need to be like. What the fuck is that about? You just now are now feeling this type of way. I would be depressed of if I was 26. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what he's went through outside the ring. So I don't want to come off like I'm, not sympathetic, but I do question, like I do question if this shit's real. You know what I mean? Because like, hey, the next motherfucker, I'm feel bad for the next person that he actually uses this. Just say I'm injured. Like, oh, hey, I'm injured and I have to postpone. This motherfucker didn't postpone. He stepped out of the fight. Like, that means you don't know when he's going to come back. Did he think about you know what I mean? Did he think about the the challenge at hand and was like, what the hell? Yeah, he's confident as hell, but mental health can come in all shapes and forms, but I don't think it's real. Yeah, I don't see any pattern. I don't see any indication that he had any problems. I seen a young, energetic kid that wanted to be the best. I heard that shit from the time he started to right up to now. I heard he wanted to fight the best. Remember he was getting pissed off at Oscar De La Hoya because Oscar De La Hoya wouldn't put him in there with fights, and he wasn't this a time when he didn't want to fight a guy? Remember there was a time he didn't want to fight a guy because of he wanted to be in an outside arena. No, I don't buy this shit. I don't buy it. I'm sorry. I don't buy into the bullshit. That kid, he's too young and all that and too successful to be stressed out. About who? Just say I have personal problems. I have to step down. But no, you have to use mental illness because that ain't a good enough excuse. See, he has to be mentally unfit to be training or to compete. I know what the fuck the deal is. I'm not an idiot. You have to say something on the grounds of, hey, you know what? I don't really want to fight this guy right now. You know what I mean? Either I got some other shit going that I don't really want to focus 100% on this fight. Oh, I know. I'll pull the Tyson Fury card. I'll go mental. Mentally sick. Did he duck Haney though? Yeah, he ducked Haney too. But fuck, we look at it now, he ducked Javier Fortuna. That's how you duck somebody. Oh, I'm mentally ill. Look at Tyson Fury. Oh, I'm mentally ill. No, because Vladimir wanted his fucking opportunity back. Come on. So I don't buy into the bullshit. I don't. But at least Tyson Fury had stories and things he told me. At least you could see Tyson Fury got 400 pounds. So you're like, yo, something's wrong. So at least you can say that about Tyson Fury. You can't say that shit about right. Look, Ryan Garcia ain't been picked up. We can see someone like what's the UFC fighter's name? Bone. What's the guy's name? Bone. Shit, I don't know. He's always objective and analyze. He doesn't jump on the bandwagon. No, I don't. Robert, I don't. John Bones Jones. Now, if it was John Bones Jones, that somebody has seen him, deal with drugs. John Jones, exactly, Jason. Dealing with drugs, got picked up by police, got into other altercations, failed some drug tests. Then we can see him saying, oh, well, hey, I'm mentally ill. Okay, I get that. John Jones, I get that. That would make more sense. Okay, well, yeah, he's been through some shit. Like, we can tell there's evidence of something else happening. Like, we've seen Tyson Fury drinking like a fish, jumping in the ring with Wilder, drunk as shit, sweating all out profusely. You know what I mean? Leaving there, getting drunk and going out. He told us all about it. Now, could he just been stressed out. He could have been. But I would believe something like that other than Ryan Garcia. We ain't seen Ryan Garcia go through nothing. You got think about what I'm saying, people. You got a guy that has like over 8 million Instagram followers. So the motherfucker's always in the spotlight. He probably take a shower on fucking camera, right? Because he knows it's going to get views, right? So we've seen documents of this guy throughout his fucking life in the last 5 years or so, right? When he came up from an Instagram and, doing the, right? We've seen that. Shaking his ass and twerking and shit. He was twerking. Nobody said shit about that. Counterpunch. Right? Now, I will say that the most arrogant people, that is a fact. I will say, the most arrogant people tend to be the one that's more the most insecure, and they got the most problems. So maybe, but I mean, you got a guy that you're in camera all the time. You're always in camera. So if that's too much pressure, maybe he just needs to step down. Well, turn this shit off for a while. Deactivate the shit. Stop posting. Got depressed that Ben Esserin got knocked out by Jake Paul. I doubt it. I once talked to my girlfriend about me not believing in Tyson Fury having mental health. She really got offended and was shouting about mental health. Is it a joke? No, it's not a joke. Let's see what I'm saying. It's not a joke, but I just don't want people using that as though it's an excuse. He wasn't twerking. He was doing a Mexican dance. Okay, a Mexican twerking dance. That's what his ass was doing. I ain't seen no Mexican dances. What is it? What, Tejano? Cumbia. He wasn't fucking cumbia dancing, Tejano dancing. He wasn't doing any of that shit. Man, that Tyson Fury talking face to face with Klitschko for the Klitschko 2 fight. That guy was suicidal. He was talking a lot of shit, but did the fight happen? See, that fight was already being branded, and all of a sudden it didn't happen. Same type of shit. Same type of shit. Ryan Ford depressed after attending Tyson Fury's barbecue party. Mexican twerking dance. Yeah, there you go. Mexican twerking dance. He was twerking too. So everybody pissing on Wilder now. You got to understand, when you see Ryan Garcia, use that same energy. Don't be that guy. Don't be those people. His ass was twerking too. It's okay. See? Agreed and said it's not a joke, and said I can still have my opinion on it, and that Fury was faking it. She weren't of it. I broke up with her later that week. Well, she had to go. She had to go. Bye. Hope you healed well. But because you'd have been still having arguments with someone like that. You do have people that are very defensive, and they like to argue because they're defensive. Fuck all that noise. You could be defensive with someone else. You don't want to be talking to someone and then they get defensive and want to argue at you about something you're just speaking about. That means you can't emotionally have a conversation without getting pissed. So yeah, good job for you, bro. Liam, good job. But it must be even more common when your brain's being punched into the back of your skull on a daily basis. Okay, repent, cool. If that's the case, that means Luke Campbell gave that shit to him. If that was the case, if Ryan Garcia, if his ass is mentally ill now, that means Luke Campbell not sopped the shit out of him with that left hand and made his ass ill. And he probably thought about the idea of getting hit again like that by Fortuna, because Fortuna's a tricky little motherfucker. He will get in. See, these fights, look, they already knew that fight was a challenging fight, dangerous fight. And they knew, like, hey, let's cool down Ryan. Let's cool him down because we don't need the winning streak to stop. And you keep fighting these guys. Look at Oscar De La Hoya himself. You think he's opposed to this? Hell no, he's not opposed to this, because he looks at Ryan Garcia like he looks at himself. in his own career. Just like Mayweather looks at Tank Davis like he looked at his own career. That's why they're aiding their guys to do exactly what they would have done in their own careers. Look at what De La Hoya did. De La Hoya's for him because De La Hoya knew when I was that age, I was fighting Oberkar, I was fighting I Corte, and I eventually fought Trinidad all in the same fucking year, and he ended up losing. Even though I think he beat Trinidad, you know what I mean? But yeah, you can't fight for 8 rounds and then stop for 4. You just don't do it, right? So yes, that's the deal. Okay. So when you're looking at those guys, they're looking at their guy, the Instagram followers, the slick 50 looks, the backing, the following, the potential. They don't want to put him in there with Javier Fortuna that's already been beat to it twice, right? Or yeah, I think he's only had 2 losses. They don't want to put him in there with a guy like that because a guy like that could fuck around and hurt him, and then he's in a tough fight and gets beat up, and then he's not marketable anymore. Then he'll be one of the kings that's X'd out. Okay? Then it'll be Teofimo, then Haney, and then who else? Davis, I guess. So yeah, they don't want that. So they know, hey, do we reserve our investment with this guy? Yeah, we do. Because as long as he doesn't take an L, he's fine. This is boxing, people, not UFC. UFC don't give a shit about records. They care about what you're able to do, how you can bounce back. If you lose, you lose. But if you're exciting, people are going to watch you again and again. I don't give a shit if you're 17-7. Doesn't matter. People are still going. That's really a legitimate UFC record right there. 17-7, right, and 10 or whatever. So those type of things keep you going. But boxing is not that way. Boxing, they look at shit. You lost 3 times. Oh, you're done, kid. You had a good job, but you don't have another time around, and someone else is going to replace you. That's how it is. Kurt, what kind of test timeline will be for the Fury AJ fight if it's in July? That's a good question, bro. I have no idea. I mean, they should be doing that now, honestly. Oscar was robbed in the Trinidad fight. Yes, he was. Because I mean, see, even if Oscar De La Hoya stopped fighting in the 8th or 9th round, he still had too many rounds in the bag for Trinidad to win a decision. That's all. When you debate with Blue Blood in the live, whose channel is it on? It's on Daryl. It's on Lady Shan's channel. We debated for about 40 minutes. And so you guys know that he was there a lot longer than I was. What Fury versus Wilder 3 is next? I don't know. Maybe it is, unless it just happened. It was a good debate, though. It was a good debate. I mean, he had some points. And then people don't understand. Again, I keep telling people, I don't disagree with everything that Blue Blood Sports says. Okay, there's got to be some type of middle ground that, like, yeah, I agree on. And the thing is, if you want to start arguing with a person, you're not going to get a cordial conversation out of them. That's going to throw the whole debate off. Unless it's when you're backing facts with facts. But if one guy's trying to talk and the other guy's trying to talk, nobody's talking. With the boxing voice, we'll see. We'll see, because that guy's an avid Wilder fan. But we'll see. I think Nestor, right? Yeah. Everyone wants to keep their O, and not everyone may. Yeah, that's true. Eddie Hearn got to the zone. Do you think he will try to replicate the UFC and boxing world? I think is the chance. I hope so, but we'll see. Blue Blood has you blocked. Damn. Nestor Gibbs and I can set that up for you. Brandon, yeah, that'll work. I'd love to do one with Nestor. Why not? Damn, blocked you too, huh? That's shitty. Fury won't fight AJ. Fury versus Wilder next. Well, I mean, look, if Fury ends up fighting Wilder, again, to close this down, If he ends up fighting Wilder, that means it was just a delayed reaction. It should have happened anyway. You know, these are the bias. And I'm gonna tell you something. God of War, the Outlaw Pugilist, okay, and then others. I don't even think Blue Blood blocks a lot of people. I think his moderators do. So I don't have a lot of moderators on here because I don't want, like, if I want to block somebody, they're just talking out of their ass, or they're just trolling. And a lot of times I can ignore it, but like they're just talking a bunch of shit. I'm like, yo, get the fuck out of here. Go away. But they keep talking shit. I'm like, okay, then I'll block you. But I'll hardly ever do that. Best middleweight for you right now? Middleweight. I don't know. We haven't had a lot of middleweight fights. Let's just be real. Maybe Jamal, but I mean, he's not really tested. I mean, he did a good job with Derevyanchenko. So that was like the first time in a long time that I've seen him tested, which was great. But I want to see him fight Danny Jacobs, Demetrius Andrade, those guys. Victor Bada, boom. Right, moderator for the Boxing Voice blocked me. I didn't even say something controversial. He was just pissed or something. Yeah, they do that. That's why moderators, they have authority, and then that's how you have to be careful, because that's like if I got a moderator on this channel and you block me before I even seen what the hell it was, how do I even know if it's offensive? I can't take someone else's word for it unless it was just like some kind of foul shit, offensive or whatever, you know what I mean? He can't fight. He has a dent in his head, skull fracture, according to his bro doctors, and the LDBC won't get a license. Well, that'll go all out the window now, won't it? Now, we know that's a bunch of bullshit. This man don't have a cracked skull. This man don't have a dent in his skull. This man don't have a fucking dent in his mandible. All them lies. Those are lies, bro. Don't fucking believe any of that dumb bullshit. That's that Deontay's. That's that fucking Aki's and all that shit. That, and it trickles on down from there. But they started that shit there. Yeah, they're fucking lying about that. Because if he had that, see, we talk about the bicep because the bicep is something that he actually had. But talking about, well, the dent in his skull, that was all fabricated from egg-shaped form and all that shit. And you made a dent and all that. No, that's what's swelling on the left side of his fucking ear from getting punched near his ear. So his fucking ear swole. That's what happened. Okay? Now, see, that should come up. That's why I wanted all that to come up last year. Like, okay, where's the dent? Where's the dent in his head? It's a fucking lie. It was a narrative to make a whole bunch of people money, and they made a whole bunch of people a lot of money. They lied to a lot of people, and a lot of people ate that shit up like it was fucking Alpo, okay? And that was that. A dent in the mandible and this, that, and that. Motherfuckers don't even know where mandible's at. Okay, the mandibles is your jaw area, right? How the fuck you got a dent? Oh, there's reports. Where the fuck are the reports then? Give me the reports. Show me something that I can see that that has Deontay Wilder's skull and it has a crack or a dent in it. We know that shit. That's just stupid. But anyway, guys, these three fighters, the ties that bind. Hopefully these guys will all fight in time. You guys tell me what you think. I thank you guys for your time. Everybody on the chat has been counterpunched. I'm going to get something to eat because it is lunchtime here for me today. And everybody stay tuned for the next one. Until then, you guys been counterpunched. Peace.